I'm gonna teach you how to build a deck from the ground up.
Step by step, even if you've never built one before.
We're going to cover everything from planning, framing, deck boards, railing, and all of your finishing touches, so let's get into it.
Make sure you check your local building codes and if they require a permit. Chances are they do, but don't be scared because it's usually pretty easy. Most of the time, they will take just a piece of paper that includes your deck layout, your height, your railing style. It's a lot easier than having someone show up on site halfway through your build. Step number 2 is marking out your layouts and your footings. Mark out your deck's footprint using stakes or string. Triple check your measurements. A square layout now means you're gonna have fewer headaches later on. For instance, my deck is center of a 30-foot building, and my deck is 8 by 16. We put our footings 7 feet out and 13 feet apart. That way there was only 18-inch overhang right to left and a foot overhang across the length. And shout out to Kent Building Supplies for sponsoring this project and having everything that I needed to complete it. We also used Loft railing systems. I can't wait to show you that at the end because they have some seriously cool features that other glass railing options don't have. We have an excavator. So it's a lot easier for us to dig the footings, I understand, than if you're digging them by hand. You can also rent post hole diggers, rent an excavator. You could see if somebody has one, or you might even have existing footings that you're using to build off of. Either way, you've got to get your footings in the ground. We used Big Feet, which is this cardboard tube that I'm putting in, and that's going to be filled with concrete below 4 feet. The big foot literally is the big part that goes in the bottom. And we have also learned a major lesson. We used to mix all of our concrete in the wheelbarrow by hand. Tom came home one day and had the biggest surprise, which was this cement mixer that he got online for $150. So even if you don't think you're going to be doing many concrete projects, although I suggest having it around because we've poured and stamped our own walkway, we've done our own set of stairs, we have a fire pit table plan, we have so many cool concrete projects in the works that this thing is going to be worth its weight in gold. Even if you don't, the $100 to $200 that you're going to spend is going to save your back. It is going to save you time. It's honestly probably going to save you days instead of mixing it by hand in a wheelbarrow. While we were putting both of the footings in the ground, we made sure that they were plumb, which essentially just means they're standing up completely level. And once everything is backfilled around the concrete, we then cut it off, poured the concrete, and then put in the anchors for the 6x6 posts. Doing that, we measured and we made sure, again, 2 or 3 different times that everything was square. And then we left it for a few days. Now you're probably wondering, how do I get the height of my 6x6 posts? Once your footings are in the ground, the next step is getting your post height cut. This is where I think one of the best investments you can make as a DIY homeowner, somebody if you're doing your own renovations, get some scaffolding. It's not that expensive. I got mine from Kent. It's really easy to put together. I do it myself. I can tear it down myself. And it allows you to have much more walking space up top instead of just a ladder that you have to move around every single time you need to shoot another measurement. So the ledger board that was underneath the patio door was already installed by the builder. I did everything from the siding outwards, which I will link below if you're thinking of siding a small shed. I will put those videos down there. But in order to get the post height, I nailed off a joist hanger, which is what you're going to be using later on, but this one is just temporary. It doesn't have to be an exact measurement across from the post, just roughly. Then we put a 2x10 joist sitting in the joist hanger. We didn't nail it off, and we used strapping, and we put it in the concrete footing, and that's how we leveled the height of the beam. But there's something else you have to take into consideration. This is the height of the joists. So if you were to cut your 6x6 at this height, which was 98 and something, then you're going to have to also subtract the beam, because the way we're building this deck, which I think is the most DIY friendly, the beam is underneath the joist and it's what's going to be carrying the load. You can do a hidden beam, but that's not something I suggest for somebody who's just starting out deck building, or this is a project you're tackling on your own. The easiest way to do it is to do 2 posts, a beam that holds the weight, and then your joists sit on top. It's a really clean look too. When your posts are cut, you're going to have to stand them up on their own. So you're going to want to drive some stakes into the ground and use some more strapping to make sure that they're plumb. Again, that just means to make sure they're standing completely straight, right and left, and then nail them in so that you can walk away from them and they're standing on their own. Once both of those are completed, you're going to want to create your beam. So this is what your joists are going to sit on, and it is a 3-ply 2x10. Majority of the time, that is going to be the size unless you're doing something extremely large, and in that case, check your local building codes. But 80% of standard decks are going to require a 3-ply, meaning 3 pieces put together, screwed every 6 to 10 inches, 3 screws down. You can add PL in the center if you wish, but you're going to put these 3 pieces together, and that's going to be your beam. And that is what sits across the 6x6 posts. So once those are in, you get that on top. And this is where it's really important to have the bracing left and right, because that is what's going to allow you to put your joists on and not have anything move. If you do have something shift or move, all it takes is a little knock of a mallet, pushing on it a little bit with your body weight. Once you screw it in place, and it's no problem. Honestly, your hardest part is done. Now you can breathe. This is where I took off on my own, because standing the posts and getting the beam up is something that I don't suggest you do by yourself. But with the scaffolding in place, you are absolutely able to nail off the joist hangers, get the joists in place, and do everything else from here on out. I did anyway. I definitely believe that you can do as well. So the next step, you're going to mark out your joists 16 inches on center, the same way you would framing a wall. You're going to mark 16 inches in the center, 3/4 to the right, 3/4 to the left, and that's where you're going to put your joists. I like to nail off all of my joist hangers first, and I use this little piece of blocking just to show me where it sits properly and that it's flush at the bottom. I nail them off, and then it's so much easier to just pop my joists in one after the other.
But you have to remember what side you have measured them from. So if you measure them from 16 from this corner and then 16 and this corner, they're not going to line up. So if you're measuring here, measure from both sides down, or both sides down.
Now I cut all of my joists to length, and then I brought them up, and I'm going to place them in the joist hangers one by one. What I didn't film is that I actually marked the 16-inch on center on the top of my beam as well. So once I put them in the joist hanger and nail them off, I then go to the part that's sitting on the beam, and then I will screw that in, just so that they don't shift. Do not use screws for your joist hangers. You have to get joist hanging nails specifically. They're load rated. I'm not sure what the process is, but you cannot screw them in. Screws will not hold a downward force, but the hanger nails will. This part is a really good workout, and one by one, every single joist got put up, tacked in place, and then nailed on. You'll see at the end here, they're about 6 inches apart. That's totally fine. Don't try and make your joists even. It's rarely never going to happen that way. Once all of your joists are in place, you're going to want to double the perimeter. So that's why you see me putting up a second one here. That's just going to cause the deck to be a bit more rigid, and you're going to screw them off the same way as you would the beam. 3 screws every 8 to 10 inches. Here's a hot tip for you. It's just me, and I have to put the outside board on. So I'm going to put these along, and then I'm going to sit it in, and it'll act as if I have lots of friends holding it up. Now you're probably wondering why I don't have a full length here. I'm an hour from the hardware store. I ordered wrong, and I ordered one less 16-footer. So you'll see that random little piece of blocking in there. What I'm going to do is connect 2 8-footers to create the length. And then since I'm doubling the perimeter, I'm going to put the 16 on the front. That way you'll never see it unless you're up underneath looking that way. Now it's on to the fun part. Your hard work is done. Not completely done, but the really grueling stuff is behind you. Your structure is here, and you just have to get all of your deck boards up there, which is also a workout. Again, I cut those on the ground, and once they were cut to length, then I fired them up. If your boards are longer than 8 feet, chances are they might have a curve in them. Use another piece of decking and a pry bar to force your board straight. Pressure-treated lumber will dry out and shrink, so getting them as close as possible allows the future gap to be as small as possible. Next up, which is the part I was the most excited for this entire deck project, is the loft railing system. This system is so unique to you and your specific needs. All of the posts can either hold a piece of glass or they can be a privacy rail. It's up to you, and it's pretty straightforward. There's corner pieces, there's post pieces, but you get to decide what goes where. I think they suggest that under 72 inches for glass, but I mean, that's like a 5-foot span. It's really easy to put together. The only thing I would say about this product is that the other glass railing systems that I have used have a bottom and a top plate, so you have a bit of play with where the glass sits. These ones look much cleaner because they don't have that, so the glass essentially is the only thing that you're seeing versus seeing black at the top and black at the bottom. That means that you have to order your glass very specific to the size of your deck. But the good thing is Kent supplies so many different sizes of glass that you're going to be able to find something, or you can always order a custom piece of tempered glass through them as well, and you'll be able to make it work for your deck. So I started by measuring out where my posts were going to go, marking them, and then getting all of the posts together. Instead of installing all of the posts, because I wasn't quite sure that I was exact, I did a post and then a sheet of glass, and then a post and then another sheet of glass. The biggest thing you'll have to do is make sure that these are leveled. I did have some cedar shake shingles in my garage, so I used those as shims. They go from a 32nd to, I think, 3/8, so it gave me a lot of play. The glass was really satisfying to go in, but I think the most fun part about getting this railing together is the privacy portion. Measure the center from post to post and then add 3/4 of an inch for either side that it's going to sit into the rail. The loft system gives you these little spacers that slide in. You literally do board spacers. Pull down a little bit because the spacers have like a little needle portion that just keep the wood in place. 6-foot privacy wall went together in a matter of minutes. There's also a gate option, which eventually I'm going to be putting a set of stairs down. Our loft up here is not finished, so I didn't really feel it necessary to do the extra work of the stairs and the gate. I wanted to get this portion done because my goal was to wrap up this entire garage build before September, and we are just a few weeks away. Now for this little corner here, instead of putting the glass all the way to the end, my thought was I needed a space for the barbecue and it's kind of ugly, so I wanted to put a corner piece here instead of glass all the way. But that's the best part about Hoff. You're able to customize. You could do glass, privacy, all glass, all privacy, different levels, you name it. I'm gonna give you a little bit of a fast forward plan for this loft.
It is so hot up here. So this space, envision this, 11 by 22. These joists are 24-inch on center. So we're going to have pull-out beds. That way the kids, if they're having a sleepover, they all want to have birthday parties up here, you can sleep like 5 or 6 kids. We will also have a Murphy bed that can close up if an adult couple is staying over, if my parents are over, granny comes, that sort of thing. But we're also going to have the option of pull-out beds for the kids, and I think it's going to be so much fun. And then do me one better, because Tom suggested I do an office pull-out. So I'm going to have a desk that literally pulls out. It's going to look like a cabinet door. I can have my bulletin board, my calendar, everything that I need to do, and then shut it when I'm not using it. And then we also thought about potentially doing like a kitchen unit in there. So if the kids are up here and they need the microwave, or it doesn't give you much time. So somebody is coming over and they want tea in the morning and they can pull their kitchen out, and then it's obviously not going to be a full functioning kitchen, but someone could stay up here for a couple of days if we have company and live comfortably. There is a stair with truss span over there that we're going to put a bathroom in. So this place will eventually be really, really cool. That's not yet because it's not a priority as much as, everything that all my plans in my head are a priority. This one is not. So this one's a slow chipper, but that's what is also going to be happening in the next few years. I would ideally like to have this done in like 2. We also have the concrete poured in the back for the addition. That has to come first because our family is large and we need the inside. Anyway, I said, I think that the kids should come out here when they're older. And then now we're thinking, well, the kids can just live in the house and we'll come out here.
And with that comes the end of our deck build. But make sure that you follow along because I will be documenting everything that we do with this loft and around our house. Thanks for watching. See you next time.